and welcome to the DNB TV here at the ONS Central Court. I'm here with Boyan Slat, the founder and CEO of the Ocean Cleanup. Welcome to you.
Well, thank you.
And just to go straight to your company and the idea and why you are here actually, what is it that the Ocean Cleanup is trying to do?
Sure. So at the Ocean Cleanup, we develop a technology to rid the world's oceans of plastic. Every year, about 8 million tons of plastic enters the oceans, and there, it's damaging ecosystems. It's damaging the food chain. It's also an economic burden. So we need to get this stuff out. It doesn't go away by itself. And in the past, people have proposed to do so using vessels and nets, so to actually go out there and start fishing for plastic. But the thing is that would take quite a while. About 79,000 years have been calculated, and would also be very expensive. So then I thought, well, these ocean garbage patches, there where the plastic concentrates, they sort of move around, and there is already this sort of energy. So I thought, well, it would be sort of a shame to not make use of that energy. And then I thought, why would you not, instead of going after the plastic, let the plastic come to you? So I came up with this passive system that sort of acts like an artificial coastline. So it's comprised of these very long floating barriers that really allow us to concentrate the plastic first before we actually physically take it out. And that way we've been able to show that with those cleanup systems, in less than 10 years, we can clean up actually more than half this Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Wow, that's a huge idea and a huge task. Actually, you've been named the champion of the Earth by the UN, and you also was awarded the Young Entrepreneur of the Year by the Norwegian Maritime Industry.
Sure.
So there are a lot of people that are cheering for your idea and your company.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the great things I always notice when I get to places, that nobody thinks we shouldn't clean the ocean. It's actually a really easy sell. I mean, everyone, the plastic pollution problem is such an unnecessary problem. It's not a necessity for it to happen, for economic prosperity to happen. It's those two things are, I think, completely compatible. So it's clear we should clean it up, and I'm glad other people also recognize that. So
I'm curious, how do you get funds and capital and investors on board? How do you work to kind of finance your pilot project and your projects?
Well, so in the beginning it was quite hard, and we actually had to get quite creative. We did a crowdfunding campaign, which actually was quite successful. It was $2.2 million
Wow.
to do that, and later I think we raised another 10 million through philanthropists both in Europe and in the United States, who just said, okay, it's still a high-risk project, it's still R&D phase, but considering the scale of the problem, I just want to get involved now. So that's sort of how we've been funded so far. And then we recently did this first prototype in the North Sea. And then actually what we saw is that we're getting to a stage that also now companies are interested to get involved as a sort of a prestige project, to able to show that these companies cares about these things. So there was one Dutch company involved there, and also the Dutch government actually. And traditionally, government is quite conservative, I would say. So I think it's quite kind of cool that they're already involved now. And now we're working to raise the funding for the next stage, which is the first operational cleanup system, this pilot in the Pacific Ocean next year.
Yeah.
And the way we intend to fund that is by collaborating with, or by partnering with about 3 to 5 large corporations, and we're very welcome to suggestions on who should be joining that.
That's a very good option for those watching, and also for the maritime industry in Norway, who I think this is an important issue for them.
Sure, and I think it's sort of, I think it would be nice if the the industry would sort of come together and say, okay, we're not going to talk about things, we're actually going to solve a problem. And yeah, and at such a large scale, I think it will be a great sort of poster card for these companies getting involved.
Some would say that this is like a huge idea to change the world in a dramatic way, to solve a problem that nobody has actually managed to solve in any kind of realistic way earlier.
Well, we haven't done it yet, but we're working on it for sure.
Yeah, and that's why some would call it a brave idea.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what is kind of driving you, because this is something that you came up with.
Sure. I mean, personally, I just really love solving problems. Just thinking about something and then coming up with a solution and then seeing that become a reality. I mean, I think that feeling is truly, as an inventor, truly indescribable. But then also on the other side, this is a serious problem. And when I started, I really didn't know whether it would get off the ground, this idea, and whether people would support it. But I think considering the scale of the problem, I thought it was important to at least try. And yeah, and that's what we're still doing today.
That's interesting. Do you, like all kind of startups, have some supporters that are kind of close to them, either their dad or their uncle or their wife or their husband? Who are you kind of talking to when everything seems a bit dark?
Sure. Yeah, I would say three. I think there are three groups of people I sort of get most intellectual support from. I think one would be sort of the the other people in the management team and in the supervisory board of the organization. With some really smart people there who, with whom I've like this good click, and it's really fun working with, and they have some really good ideas always. So I think that's one. The others is sort of our funders. These are really sharp people. They want to fund something that actually has a high likelihood of succeeding. So they also always have good advice. And then I think the third group of people is there are some individuals who think that this is not going to happen, and so skeptics, I would say, and because they think this problem is too big, or it's not possible for another reason or whatever. And listening to those people actually is, in a way, they are our greatest supporter, because
you get the inspiration from criticism.
Yeah, well, they keep us, on one side they keep us sharp, and on the other side they also give us like an extra motivation to sort of try and
prove them wrong.
So I'm certainly no hard feelings there. I think I should be quite thankful for them.
Well, if you were to give an advice to other startups, entrepreneurs who are actually having a brave idea like yours, but just in the beginning of kind of forming it.
Sure. I would say two things. I think one thing is that it's really important that the thing that you're working on, that you believe that it's really important, because then even if it's even in the face of adversity, you will still want to continue, because you will get so many hurdles. It's just being an entrepreneur is just this this solving one problem, then the next, and then the next. So I think that's really important, because if what you do doesn't really matter, why should you care? And so I think that's one thing. And the other thing is that sort of when I sort of look back to a few years ago, I really think, well, I really didn't have a clue what I was doing. It was just, I was just starting, and I had this idea, and I think the key thing that sort of got me from that point to this point, and hopefully also to the success eventually, is that I've sort of I always want to continue learning, and I just sort of try things, and I just try many different things and sort of see what sticks, and eventually sort of like almost like an evolutionary tree, you sort of still find what there's one path that actually gets you further. Yeah, so just trying out many different things, and always look for opportunities. I think that's key as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and ideas with us, and good luck with your project.
No, thank you for inviting me. Yeah.